Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast with Adam Cohen Hillel. With us today, he's co-founder and CEO at Deepen. Has a cool background in software engineering, security, and founded his first startup in 2013. He's from Israel. Right now, he's in London, UK, and we're going to talk about therapy, AI, everything in between. This is Charles Cormier, your host of founderwisdompodcast.com. And if you want to start your own podcast or scale your own podcast, you can go to podfire.com. That is my podcasting agency. I help people with that. If you want to find sponsors or even be invited to other podcasts, you can go there. Podcasts are cool to learn, grow your network, grow your net worth with some leads, some clients that are generated through the podcast. They're quite amazing, quite educational, and everyone likes them. So podfire.com if you want your own. Adam, welcome to the pod. Can you tell me about yourself and about Deepen?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. So as you said, I'm originally from Israel, but I live in the UK now. I'm still working on the British accent. I'm not there just yet. Previously, I had like a mobile games company that I ran for a few years targeting the Israeli audience, few million downloads. Did some stuff in the Israeli military, software engineering. Was fun, but not my go-to. And after the military service, been in startups as early stage employee, mainly in cybersecurity because of my military background. But in the last few months, I moved to go full time on a startup called Deepen, which is completely different from cybersecurity, but it's something I'm really passionate about, which is an AI therapy. Basically, trying to build a tool that gives people a mental health support that is more accessible and affordable and available 24 hours 7. And yeah, we launched around 2 months ago. Been going quite well so far. Have a few hundreds users, which is always exciting.
And why therapy? Why did you get that idea?
So from 2 point of views. So one, Danny and I, my co-founder, we both experienced therapy and the pain associated with it, whether it's the money, even if you have like well-paid job, it's still a lot of money. But it's also not available as much as you want. So it came from like we are builders in our heart. I've been building products and whatever my entire life. So my go-to is always right, what we can build, what we can create. So it started from there, just create a tool for us to use. But also I was a brief student of psychology in the University of London for a few weeks. But I decided like last year, but I decided to drop out because it really wasn't like what I was expecting. The entire like understanding of the human mind and psychology is so limited to such small research papers, and with like a research paper that's been conducted on thousands of people, it's nothing compared to, I don't know, billions of people out there in the world. So we want to create a better tool and better understanding for individuals to understand themselves that is out of the scope of the clinical psychology.
Right. And yeah, the cost, it costs a lot, therapy. And I mean, BetterHelp, I believe it's called, it's like $200 per session sometimes. I believe it's also pretty inconvenient because sometimes the therapists are not the right ones for you, and you should be able to retain your data and yet have the therapist like get up to the speed quite quickly instead of taking like 10 sessions just to get to know you. I think they should be able to almost straight up jump right in. So Deepen itself, tell us about the tool, the pricing, how you target your customers, and what you want to achieve with it.
Great. So it's a great point what you mentioned. Like even if you find like going to therapy, if you want to, I live in London, and when I moved between Israel to London, I needed to find a new therapist and start the process all over again, which cost a lot of money. So this is a good point. And we actually initially thought about creating like a tool for therapists to kind of like the integration between a patient and a therapist to help people do this kind of transition or have kind of like a hybrid approach. But we dropped it eventually because we do not believe human in the loop will scale for the price we want to provide Deepen. So longer term, 5 to 10 years, we want to provide Deepen for completely free. Right now it's a 12 quid, $12 a month. And basically the product is very straightforward. You go into Deepen and you can start talk about whatever you want. You can choose to text, or you can talk with Deepen directly via voice, which is a new feature we released a few days ago. And then the conversation goes to wherever you take it, and whatever topics you are bringing to the table. And then after, there is something called the feedback loop, right? So in a therapeutic environment, you will get insights, get feedback on what you talk about. And we're trying to create something similar within Deepen. So after each session, Deepen in the background will try to extract different insights based on all the sessions that you've provided throughout your experience with Deepen. It will automatically track your mood, energy, and stress levels over time. And one other thing we are going to release very soon, it's called the Q&A feature, which I'm really excited about. My goal with Deepen is to create a tool for people to understand themselves better and basically create a more intimate relationship with yourself, like much more we're currently experiencing. Even though it's the most intimate relationship we have, it can go even deeper. And this feature called the Q&A is basically you can ask. It's an abstract way to ask questions about your sessions. For example, you can ask, what makes me happy? And Deepen based on all your sessions, we'll try to figure out, okay, what the small facts or insights throughout, let's say you've been using Deepen for like a year. It will say, a year ago, like you were talking with Yam, a good friend of mine, it made you happy, and recently you haven't been talking with him a lot, so maybe try to message him. Something like that, a tool for the mind. So this is current Deepen with slightly vision to the next few months.
I've been using HeyPi
Yeah.
as a tool. So what would be your competitive advantage here?
So first of all, we love HeyPi. It's a great tool, great UX. The main difference between us and HeyPi is we focusing on basically on your therapeutic, like kind of like the understanding of the self, more and less about general AI where you can talk about everything. So you can see it in our feature set. So for example, everything I said about the insights and the Q&A, it's all of those things that just took the product to a slightly different direction, but this direction is very important. We are not interested in like creating a tool for people, an AI for people to play a game with, which HeyPi really focusing on, and things like that. So I would say this is the main difference. There is a lot of overlap, which will be interesting to see how it will develop, because Mustafa is a very interesting person, and they're quite big, obviously. So
The calls feature on HeyPi was quite slow. I mean, it may take time to an AI to first transit my voice into words, and then analyze the meaning behind these words, then fetch a response and respond me in voice. How are you solving this?
there's definitely a latency there, which we are aware of. Like we try to make it a bit more intuitive. Right now, our approach for this is UX, making the user not sitting there doing nothing while they're waiting for the response. So it might be like a stupid response, but I think the small changes in the user experience, when there is like a processing or 3 dots or something like that, this is our current approach. We can take it a bit further with some more gamification. Long term, I personally hope to have in the next year or two large language models capable on device. It's not there yet, but definitely with recent stuff with Llama and things like that, I definitely believe it's going to be there, and we hope to be in the right place, the right time to make this transition. We've been playing with fine tuning our Llama models and trying to run them on currently on Macs, but year or two, we'll be able to run some stuff on iPhones. Not sure about different Android devices, but on iPhones for sure.
I see here, like, so I can use it for one free session, and then after that, it's gone. Don't you feel that this trial is like way too short?
So it is a feedback we got quite a lot. So currently we increased it to twice. And again, it's
Two
not once, it's
questions?
once. No, two sessions. So a session can be as long as you want. You can have a session for 4 hours with like 200 messages, and it's still within the free version. It's important to note that it's not once and that's it. It's once a week, which is what you get from a real therapist already. So I don't know of anyone who speaks to the therapist more than like once a week. We do believe with Deepen, like we see people using it like every day, a few times a day even, which is really fun to see. Great. But I think our value proposition for free version is already great enough and provide a real value. But we did get this as a feedback, and we increased it twice a week actually, like a few days ago.
Yeah, because it's confusing as per like how can I get back to my sessions? If you mentioned that there's two, I'm not sure in the UX. I'm re-clicking the one that I was supposed to have, and it keeps on giving me the offers. Yeah, it's like keeps on giving it.
Yeah, the paywall. So I'm not sure what version you're running. Again, the twice is we just increased it like a few days ago. I would recommend going through the paywall. I will obviously I'm biased, but the paid product is definitely better. All the insights and the mood tracking, the Q&A will be under the paywall.
Yeah, it's just I
And
haven't
again,
tested it right. Like, so I like wrote it like a message, and I don't even know how to get back to that session. So I'd
you
definitely pay if I'd see the benefit.
so again, like there's some definitely some improvements to do when it comes to user experience. So the reason what happened, I would imagine, is that you clicked the save and finish button of the
Yeah,
session, which
yeah.
then basically finished the session, which counts as the one session you had for the week.
Mm.
Again, it's not intuitive, and it's a feedback we got quite a lot as well.
Yeah,
We
there
have
you
two
go.
people, and the user feedback is like we have like 5 to 10 user feedback a day.
Okay.
So yeah.
It's very insightful though to get that feedback. How much paying clients do you have right now?
So we don't call them clients, we call them users. Just I think it's a slightly different. But we have around almost 200 paid users and a few hundreds active people using the free version.
That is great. You guys are bootstrapped, not seeking any funding.
So we are bootstrapping at the moment. We are starting to look for investment, mainly because we want to move faster and do a few things currently. We are limited by what hours in the day, and so much thing we want to do. So we started like a few weeks ago to look for a pre-seed funding. If you know, a warm intro, it will be always welcome. But yeah, we have quite of a runway anyway. So we have like around 1 year of a runway without bootstrapping, and hopefully, with the money from Deepen, it will get longer.
How is the product hunt launch a game changer for you?
I mean, we didn't plan to become first. We definitely plan to like be in the top 3 or something, but being at the top was really a great surprise. Um, we had a lot of traction from users. I think we have around like 100 people paying from the product hunt. But also just engaging with people through LinkedIn and even like people who knew us beforehand through LinkedIn and Twitter got more interested. We got a few investors reaching out as well. I would say what is interesting to see is how to ride on this wave, so it won't fade away after the product hunt launch. But it was definitely helpful. I think in our case, because we are like a consumer product and it's so obvious like what we do, we not only got like fake traction. People really like, okay, let's check it out, because I've been to therapy, my friend been to therapy. Let's test it out. It's very intuitive. People like understand it very easily. So yeah, it was. I was afraid from the OpenAI bill towards at launch, but luckily we got Azure credits just before. So
Good for you. And I'm seeing here on the website, basically you say that you can chat with yourself. So I've been building a Charles GPT now, and I've been asking myself questions, because I think as humans, or brain energy and IQ, it oscillates. Sometimes we're not as smart, sometimes we're tired, and it's always cool to be able to ask your real self a question, and especially when you're angry, or you're just too stressed to realize stuff, you can chat with yourself and actually get great insights, and get a more accurate version of the reality if your memory is not going to provide it. So what was your thought behind that feature?
So exactly what you're saying, and the first version of it is the Q&A feature that I briefly mentioned earlier, where Deepen kind of like gather all the data that you were mentioning throughout whatever time, and helps you get much more easy understanding of the data. So like what makes me happy, like things like that. But longer term, even like, so and this is like one of the first visions of starting Deepen was I've been to therapy and I've been exploring my past and like my childhood and different aspects of things that happened to me. My goal is to be able to have like a slide where I can slide to Adam of 5 years ago and be able to talk with the Adam of 5 years ago, or go to Adam of 10 years ago and be able to talk to Adam of 10 years ago. Because I think a lot we engaging with our memories, but I think making it more actualizing it will be much powerful tool, and create a compassion, a big compassion towards your younger self or whatever. So this is the utopia, being able to literally speak to different, not yourself, but different selves of yours. Obviously you will need to engage with Deepen for that time, so I cannot talk to Adam of 5 years ago, but hopefully in 5 years I will be able to talk with Adam of today. And whatever choices I make today, at least I'll be able to explain it to my future self and say, I'm sorry, that's the information I knew. That's what I made. That's the choice I made. And I'm sorry, you need to live with it, but that's the way it is.
Right. And last question, what do you mention to people saying basically that, oh, it's always better to talk to a human, and yeah, AIs will never be as good as humans?
I would say to them, ask people that don't go to therapy why they don't go to therapy. I think Deepen is a much easier way to get into self-exploration and understanding yourself and start talking about everything. So yeah, a lot of people going to one-on-one therapy might get greater benefits than talking to Deepen, but a lot of people, and most people don't, and cannot afford it, and they need a solution. And in the next few years, it will even be much better than a real one-on-one therapist, I would say.
I agree with that. So Adam, thank you for the pod today. Where can people find out more about you?
Mainly on Twitter, AdamCohenHillel. Writes about our journey, share like from bugs to investors shit to literally everything. And I'm happy to talk with everyone. So if you want, feel free to DM me, and I will definitely answer.
And I'm Charles Cormier, host. That was another CEO Wisdom podcast.com. If you want to start scale, be invited to podcast, go to podfire.com.